Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again. Guys, I got broken up with. Actually, so did all of you. John Cena wants nothing to do with us. Welcome to the John Cena heel era. Ladies and gentlemen, Raw, Monday Night Raw, was live today, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, 12 noon on the West Coast, from Brussels, Belgium. Our first look at heel John Cena. We knew there was going to be a confrontation between Cena and Cody Rhodes, and you guys let me know in the chat if Cena's promo lived up to the expectations that you had for it. I thought it was a whole lot of good, with maybe just a couple of questions that I have, or maybe some things from Cena that I would have liked to have seen addressed. However, even with that being said, I thought this was a good start. This is chapter 1 of this saga here with Cena as a heel. Maybe they couldn't get to everything in this one promo, break it up a little bit. What I was really missing from Cena was his motivations. Why did he sell his soul to The Rock? He mentioned nothing about chasing that 17th title. So we didn't really hear much from Cena in terms of motivation. All we heard from Cena was how much he dislikes the fans. It was a great You People promo, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we were missing just a little bit more from him. But I'm not really that upset about it because we're going to get that. We eventually will get The Rock in the ring with him. We will get more of an explanation from Cena, but the fact that The Rock's name wasn't even uttered once is pretty mind-blowing to me. Also, we were, I guess, assuming incorrectly that John Cena would be coming out there in a completely new look, new music, new attitude, new ring attire. All we got was the new ring attire. I'm sorry, the new attitude, excuse me. And a lot of people were kind of sniffing this out over the weekend, past couple of days. I've seen a lot of people on social media mention the fact that John Cena might not change up his look at all, because if he didn't, that would be the ultimate heel move. And John Cena kind of said that in his promo. No new music, no new look. This is who I am, whatever it was. He purposely came out there dressed like he always did, with the music, like he always has. And the music does work, because now the crowd can chant and sing John Cena sucks. And my God, Brussels was such a perfect place and venue for this first Raw. I'm so glad, or first Raw is with Cena as a heel. I'm so glad that Raw was in Brussels, Belgium tonight, and not Little Rock, Arkansas, or better yet, Corpus Christi, Texas. You know, one of these towns that is just dead as all hell. Or if they were in Hartford or something like that. You know, the fact that they had an international crowd like that, just, you could feel it. The minute Raw went on the air, they just did a wide shot of the crowd, and they were just rocking. I mean, they were just white hot. And when you look at the crowd, I could tell from eyesight, it looked to be about 20% of the audience had their phones out. That's an incredible percentage, because here in the States, it's 150%. Motherfuckers got 2 phones out. You know, so the fact that everybody was just engaged and just in it, in the moment, the fans were loving it, the electricity, the reactions that John Cena got, the sing-alongs with the theme music and all of that was really, really a good setting. I mean, it really, really brought heat. It brought fire. It brought enthusiasm. And I can't say enough good things about the crowd tonight on Monday Night Raw. And, you know, I was worried about when the Cody and John Cena segment would happen, because as I told you guys over the weekend, I had my appointment today at 2:30 here in California, which meant that's 30 minutes before Raw ends. So I was going to have to miss the last 30 minutes of Raw. So I was really, really hoping that John Cena opened the show so I could see it and didn't have to come home and catch up or anything like that. So I was very happy that he opened the show. And, you know, we had the big video package, or the recap package, first, and then Cole welcomed us to Raw. And alongside Michael Cole is none other than Corey Graves. Welcome back, Corey. Are you happy now? I guess Pat McAfee, he can't be going to Brussels. He's got that podcast, all that other shit, so they called in Corey Graves to come fill in. Corey seemed to be in good spirits for the most part, but it was Michael Cole and Corey Graves on the call. And then out comes John Cena with the same music, and he's got pretty much the same gear, the hat, the jorts, the sneakers, and the t-shirt. It's kind of a darker red color with my last time is now, or whatever the hell the slogan is on his shirt, but he still had the hat. He still did everything. The only thing that was different is that he just had a blank look on his face. You know, he wasn't doing the audience thing. He wasn't pandering to the crowd. He looked legitimately pissed off. And, you know, even though I was kind of hoping and expecting him to come out in a suit or something, this almost fits better. You know, I think a lot of us were just thinking that he would have to do that because we heard back in 2012 or 2013 when he was going to turn heel, they created new music for him and all of that. So I'm not too disappointed about that. That part of it. Yeah, I thought he'd have a different look, but him staying exactly the way he is, being true to himself, I actually kind of liked it. And I know you guys are letting me know your thoughts and opinions in the chat here. I will get to those. We will read them. We will read all the super chats today. Memberships are open, by the way. Please smash that thumbs up button down below. And we are going live here for our WWE Raw review at the same time that Raw normally starts here in the United States. So if you are able to see the show live today, I know it's Monday. A lot of people might have had to work. So if you're catching up on it later or whatever, I hope you check this review out later on once you finally get an eyeball on Raw. But in terms of John Cena and his demeanor and his opening promo, I did like it, even though I have a few critiques. So John Cena comes out to the ring. Like I said, no outfit change, no new music, nothing like that. But he has got a very serious look on his face. And the first thing he says, and you could tell when he started talking, I'm like, oh, his tone is going to be lower too, because you almost couldn't hear him. Number one, the crowd was very loud. But Cena's first line of dialogue, or first line in his promo, he said, when you become grounded in life, you shouldn't have to look outside, or I said, when you become grounded in life, you shouldn't have to look outside yourself for approval, is basically what he said. So when the fans are singing John Cena sucks, he's basically saying that doesn't bother me. Now, his promo is a lot like what I would think his heel promo 12 years ago would have been like, because I was the one saying back then, if they turn John Cena heel, my God, the ammunition he has, all the material he has to draw from the abuse from the fans for so long. Now, granted, we're probably nearing around 8 to 10 years of John Cena really being heavily booed, because I think after that squash from Brock in 2014, I don't think fans had the same stick up their ass about Cena that they used to. Clearly that hate was still going to linger, but I don't feel like it was bad. And by the time we got to like 2017 and he like beat AJ for the title, I don't even think fans were that mad about it. So I think fans have started to turn the corner on Cena for about the last 7 to 8 years at least. You know, I mean, then at WrestleMania, 34, he loses to Undertaker. So Cena has not been the Super Cena smashing and demolishing everybody for well over a decade now. But so I think that some of this lashing out at the audience might have hit harder back in 2013, but he still did an excellent job. One thing about John Cena is that he's one of the best promos the business has ever seen. And I've been saying that for the past 15 years. Back when everybody hated him, what did they all say? He can't wrestle, he can't cut a promo. Wrong and wrong. He can cut a promo. Problem is, the material that he has to work with isn't very good. You give John Cena any sort of dialogue, and he can deliver that effectively no matter what. And he's always had that ability. So a lot of fans like myself have always dreamt of the day that he could be a heel, because then he could really show what he can do and show his range. We've seen it out in Hollywood. John Cena is very entertaining. He's a good actor. And I think given a role like this, he can do a really, really good job. So he went on to say basically what we would have expected him to say 12 years ago. He said for the past 25 years, he's been the victim. I love him saying that. When he said, I'm the victim, it was so Owen Hart, you know? He said, I've been the victim of an abusive relationship. Talking to us. We, not me, all y'all. I've been having the guys back since the day this YouTube channel started. But for the rest of the audience, they've been very cruel, very, very irrational, and their hate bubbles over and overtakes critical, rational thought. That's the way it's always been with the Cena haters. So I was really excited for the day when John Cena told all the fans to go fuck themselves. And then he said, I'm not a babyface. He actually says babyface. He says, I'm not a babyface. I'm not a heel. I'm a human being. And every single one of you in the audience has been awful to me. He's right. They have been. Now, again, you know, this would have hit harder in 2013. But the audience's relationship with John Cena has been a troubled one for many, many years. And there is a big portion of the audience that are worse than awful to him. I mean, I used to get messages about, okay, good mic work. I hope you and Cena die. I hope you're sitting next to each other on a plane and it crashes and you both die. That's the level of anger you can have in an immature, infantile, basement-dwelling little boy IWC that seems to dominate the community. And he went through that for so many years, and now this was his chance to give back. He says that they hated him, and then he changed, and it worked for a minute. So he's probably talking about when he first came in, when he was just doing the babyface thing, wearing the colors of the local sports team to every show. Then he went into Thuganomics John Cena, and it worked for a minute, but then he started winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And that's when people turned on him, and then all of a sudden they didn't like him anymore. And he said he tried one last time. He said, I tried one last time to get you to like me with my retirement, and it was never enough. He says all fans do is take and take and take, and they only care about themselves. So in those first few bits there of his promo, what have we always talked about throughout the years when it comes to a heel? You know, the best heels are the ones that are right. And John Cena is right in this, you know. However, it's just the fans I feel like, have come around on him over the past few years, just like I said they would all the way back in 2014. I said, mark my words, when John Cena is nearing retirement and he's not in your faces anymore and he's not winning championships anymore and you guys have transferred all of your irrational hate onto some other poor, unsuspecting schmuck, then you'll start coming around on Cena and fans will start to appreciate him. And that happened. It absolutely happened. So John Cena, trying to backtrack here, trying to act like the fans have been the way they were in 2012, acting like they're like that now, isn't really accurate from John. So I do have a little bit of an issue with that because, you know, John Cena certainly has a reason to dislike, distrust, and hate the audience. But that was a few years ago, not really today. So now it's kind of like, it's a little bit, he's late to the party here on telling the fans to go fuck themselves. So the fans started chanting for Cody, and John Cena basically calls him a shiny new toy. Yeah, go ahead and chant. He's your shiny new toy, just like I was, and calls all the fans awful people and calls them toxic. Again, no lies told. However, when he called the fans toxic, the camera panned to a young feller there, probably 12 years old, in the front row wearing his John Cena stuff. And he looked downright about to cry. I kind of wish he would have. I wish the kid could have cried on cue, or I wish that Cena really did make him cry and they could get a close-up of that. Oh, man, the power that would have in that promo, that image, like Ms. Girl and the big guy who went like, when Undertaker lost, he'd be one of them, and then you could make it all up to him. If he cries and you break his heart, bring him backstage, give him a meet and greet, give him a bunch of merch, pat him on the butt, get him out of there, make it okay for him. But if you would have been able to have that kid crying on camera, I thought that would have been absolute money. But it was still pretty funny to see the look on that poor kid's face when John Cena called all the fans horrible people and toxic. And I liked it because the fans are fucking toxic. We see it every damn day. Sometimes we have to deal with a toxic son of a bitch in the chat here. It just happens. So Cena really ain't telling any lies so far. And that's when he delivers the very painful news that he is breaking up with us. No more nookie for us. John Cena is ending our relationship. He still follows me on Twitter. Hopefully he will not stop following me. But he has unfortunately broken up with me. And that makes me sad because I've always had his back. This channel was largely created in an attempt to push back on the typical sheep-like bandwagon thought process of 99.9% of the IWC. When it came to Cena, they said the same thing. They acted the same thing. They got irrationally butthurt, crazy, screaming, red-faced mad. I'm quitting WWE. How many people who are still watching WWE to this day said they were quitting WWE back then? I'm quitting this company. I'm quitting the WWE. No, you're not. You're not. So all that stuff was just like, God, I mean, is there literally like 3 million fans all sharing the same brain or something? Because you're all saying the same thing. And that couldn't stand that. I pushed back on it. I'm like, no, somebody's going to come up here and be the fucking adult. And that's what I tried to do. Granted, back in those days, I wasn't as good at articulating my point maybe as I am now. Terrible microphone, too many F-bombs, that type of thing. But I still stand by how I felt during those days. And so with Cena breaking up with us, I feel like he should break up with everybody except me. To be honest, all y'all. Zane, Ian, Melissa, Ryan, Michael, Jet the Hawk, David, all y'all. Break up with all y'all. But stay with me because I've been by his side through and through. I'm just kidding. And he says that the fans know he's right and they know they're wrong. And I kind of think that's true too, because I certainly feel that way. So that whole, I guess, explanation took about 18 minutes. It took like the first 20 minutes up of the show. And then Cody Rhodes came out. Finally, Cody's music hits. And he did say on his promo on SmackDown that he was going to let John Cena say his piece. So I'm not too upset about Cody not running right out there and attacking him, because Cody said as much on SmackDown that he was going to allow Cena to speak, and then he'll be coming out. And that's what he did. He came out. I'm going to give this a pass because they were in Brussels, Belgium. It's a hot crowd. You got to give the crowd the Cody entrance, you know? So Cody came out and did the whole thing, the whoa, and he's smiling and he's slapping the hands with the kids, and that's all fine. It's a special Raw. You want that crowd to get that moment. I understand, but I didn't mind so much the music. Cody's music can hit, but I needed him to power walk straight to the ring without taking his eyes off of John Cena. You know, I know Cody's the fan-friendly guy, but this is a serious situation. This is an industry-changing angle and decision John Cena has made to become a bad guy. He's attacked you. He's viciously attacked you, assaulted you to the point where you busted an eardrum, damn near broke your orbital bone, and from Travis Scott, and you should be way more enraged. Now, Cody's energy and his promos leading up to this were great. Very great. I loved what happened on Miz TV, where you just fucked him up and said, I don't want to talk to anybody except John Cena. So if I had one little critique about Cody, is just coming out and doing the whole Cody entrance, I thought that was a little bit too much. I thought Cody should have come out much more serious and much more focused on John Cena. So Cody says that at one point he was excited, like after Cena won the Elimination Chamber, he was excited to wrestle this match with John Cena, but not anymore. And he says, if this man standing in front of me, he called John Cena a whiny bitch. He said, if this man standing in front of me shows up at WrestleMania, then I'm going to retire him early. I want the real John Cena, not this whiny bitch. Well, it's too late for that, Cody. He's whiny bitch Cena now, so you're going to have to deal with that. And now Cody's super pissed, and he's to the point where he's saying, not only am I going to beat you, I'm going to retire you early. So I did like that intensity from Cody, and that's really all he said. After that, he leaves, leaving Cena in the ring by himself with the microphone still in hand. I was hoping Cena would say something back, Cody would come back in the ring, and we get a back and forth. We didn't get a back and forth. We got Cena saying his piece, Cody coming out and saying his piece, and that was it. They didn't exchange words, nothing like that. It did not get physical. I was kind of hoping that we would have some big angle maybe after this, like at the end of the show, like Rock and Cody last year, outside in the rain in front of his bus, something to that level. And we can still get that. It didn't all need to happen here, but I do think it was a mistake to not at least, number one, mention The Rock. No mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, unless I didn't hear, but there was no mention of The Rock's name at all, correct? So I don't think he was even brought up. And also the championship, the title, which Cody currently holds, which Cena is challenging for. He will break Ric Flair's record if he wins it. It almost felt like that wasn't as important to him as giving the fans a piece of his mind. So if I had any critique, and it's really hard to criticize something that was so good. I mean, this was our first look at John Cena. I really liked what he said. I liked his demeanor. I knew John Cena was going to be a great heel. I think it's just, I'm so anxious to see this get rolling. I wanted a little bit more, but as long as we still get that explanation, as long as next week John Cena explains it to us, as long as we get him and The Rock side by side in the ring, as soon as they get back to the United States, and they explain some more of that, then I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to worry too much. So if I had one complaint is that I didn't get as much out of Cena as I wanted, but I wanted to take in and breathe in and process John Cena as a heel. And for those who said he shouldn't change up his gear and he should keep everything the same because that would be the ultimate heel move, you're right. It was. He's not changing shit. No, we haven't got to look at the hair. Apparently, he's taking care of the hair. There was a video surfacing of him last week with hair that was all, the bald spot was gone anyway. So that's either for a movie shoot or it's for this. But if he's not changing anything, I kind of have a feeling he's going to leave that bald spot there. That's also a heel move. The bald spot bothers so many fans, so I'm going to flaunt it. He should accentuate it. He should shave what little hair he has there just to make a big, completely shiny bald patch, like Stone Cold Steve Austin right in the back of his head. Or do what I did, or do a crew cut or something like that. But he might just leave everything, including the bald spot. So what this tells me, or what it hints to me, especially with Cena making this so much about the fans. This seems to be about the fans. Seems to be about us first, the title second. And why the reason they may have done that is because they might have planted our redemption seeds right here. And when Cena was speaking to the audience like that, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, Cena's got some issues, with us. He's explaining them. And maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but when I was looking at John Cena's face and his body language, there was a part of me that thought that it was hurting John Cena a little bit to say that. Like deep down, he knows this isn't the right thing or something. And maybe it's just decades of frustration finally boiling over. I mean, if anybody has a right to snap, it's John Cena. And so maybe all of that boiling over, being influenced by The Rock, the pressure of winning his record-breaking 17th championship forced him to make a bad decision. And if John Cena is truly going to retire at the end of the year, well, what's at the end of the year? Holidays. And I can envision, I don't want to be too sappy here or anything like that, but I can envision John Cena and the fans taking this next 8 months to work out their issues with each other. And whatever path John Cena goes down, however gnarly his heel run gets, assuming he wins the title from Cody, and he's just an evil son of a bitch, all year, then maybe it will be tough to do this. But if he just goes heel, has a run with the title, maybe passes it back to Cody, maybe at Survivor Series, right here in San Diego. Something like that. And then he spends the final month kind of redeeming himself with the audience. Now, I've always thought like his final match should be against Cody. He should have Cody beat him, and that would be it. And you could still do that. But what I think would be fun and nice to see is after all this is done, right at the end, right when John Cena retires, like the last month, the final month during the holiday time and the holiday season, John Cena and the fans reconcile. To the point where, like, it'd be tough to execute this, but I think if anybody could do it, John Cena would. Like, a very emotional segment in the ring where John Cena cries. Like, he breaks down in tears. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I don't want to go out like this. We forgave Sergeant Slaughter, and I could see a lot of fans in the audience, like, maybe getting emotional, like choking up a little bit. And having that reconciliation with John Cena, like finally getting the ultimate acceptance from the fans. He gave us that heel run, albeit super late, but we did get it. Maybe that's the final thing fans always wanted from Cena, and then you're using the angle of him being angry at the fans. And for them to all come around and then John Cena to perhaps have even a more emotional retirement than Ric Flair. Imagine beating Ric Flair's title record and then beating his retirement, and I think if you did something like that around the holidays, on a Christmas Raw or something like that, or like I've pitched having a pay-per-view dedicated to Cena, You Can't See Me or whatever, just like they did with Rock Bottom and D-Generation X in 97 and 98, do a December themed pay-per-view for John Cena where that will be his retirement match, or it'll just be his retirement. and if there can be some sort of like massive reconciliation where John Cena admits his faults, and then the fans kind of finally come around on him, like I always said they would, and finally accept him once and for all. They give him his flowers, standing ovation, music, touching music, video package, tears from Cena, tears from audience members. I think that could be very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. And when you look at like wrestling retirements, that's one thing fans have always been robbed of. We've never had a retirement. Even Ric Flair's wasn't a retirement because the old sack of shit got in the ring and wrestled in TNA a year later. But with Cena, this might be our chance. Even Shawn fucked his up. I used to praise Shawn Michaels for sticking to his retirement, for not doing what Piper did, what Foley did, what Hogan did, what everybody did, what Austin did even. Shawn was the one guy that stayed true to his retirement. And then he gets in the ring with a bald-ass head and has the worst match in the history of the business in Saudi Arabia. Let down again. Austin, 3 years ago, comes out of retirement after being out of the ring for 66 years. So we don't get retirements. There's no such thing. Even Ric Flair's last match that he had a couple of years ago in his late hundreds, this guy is still on podcasts talking about having another match. If Terry Funk was alive, he'd probably try to get in the ring too. So we don't have retirements. They just don't exist. They don't exist. This could be a chance where we get a real, actual retirement and a send-off. We've had some close calls, Undertaker, loses the streak, comes back. And then he loses to Roman, takes his hat off, his gloves off, his jacket off, puts it in the ring, symbolically retiring, wrestles the next year. So it just doesn't happen. You don't get it. John Cena has the chance to be the first person to actually have a retirement match, have a retirement ceremony, and fucking stick to it. So if they did something like that and it all comes together at the end of the year to where John Cena and the fans give each other closure. Man, that's something I wish I would have had when I was younger with Bret Hart and and Randy Savage. I think I'd be, a lot less neurotic of a person if I just would have gotten that Randy Savage closure, and to be in this generation, a couple generations after me and being a fan of the Cena era, being a fan of Cena when you're 8 and 10 years old, now you're 28, man, it's got to feel good for you. If something like that were to happen, it's something I wish I would have gotten with some of my favorites. So I really hope that for the sake of that generation's fans, that they get something special like that at the end, because now I think we're at the point with Cena's heel turn that the retirement is starting to be important. Unless Cena it's the ultimate swerve and he has no plans on retiring at the end of the year. But if he's still going through with this and his plan is to never, ever wrestle again after the end of 2025, then we need to start thinking about how you set that retirement up. It's crucial to the legacy of John Cena and how he's going to be remembered, how that retirement ends up. That's why I really think it's important, based on all the seeds that were planted here with Cena, making sure they went after the crowd first. I think that needs to be the last thing that's addressed when he leaves. First thing addressed when he turns heel, final thing addressed when he leaves, and you make up. And then John Cena can have a gangbang makeup sex with millions of fans later on that night. So I know it's months out, but you got to start thinking about the retirement. John Cena hasn't even won the title yet, but I think that this should all really culminate with just a really, really special end for John Cena, unless he wants to go out as a heel, unless he wants to go out on his back, wants to go out being booed, wants people throwing tomatoes at him as he is exiting the curtain and exiting stage left, then that's fine, but that's not what I would want for a fan. John Cena, I want him to have as much fun as he can, be the most evil, maniacal, devious son of a bitch he can for the next 10 months, or 9, and then at the end of the year, let's come full circle. Let's all make up, and the fans can show John Cena the love, and it will kind of be like a thank you. Thanks for giving us that heel run, right at the end. We didn't expect that, and just a little appreciation. That's all I've ever wanted for Cena, really, is just the fans' appreciation, because fans tend to blind themselves with hatred. And when they start not liking somebody too much, all of a sudden they can't wrestle, they can't cut a promo, they just start getting madder and madder to where they just say things, and none of it's true. Because anger is too important to them. It's more important to them to be pissed at Cena than to make any sense. So that whole thing, I feel like it's cathartic and therapeutic for Cena and the fans to go through this together. That way when it's over, it can really give proper closure. And when it comes to pro wrestling, we very rarely get closure on anything. Anything. It's really tough to get closure. Sometimes in the occasional Hall of Fame will do it, but Hall of Fame induction will do it. But for the most part, it's really difficult to get any sort of closure or legitimate retirement out of anybody in this business. So I'm hoping that John Cena has the angle of the century here this year. I hope this is fun. I hope he enjoys it. I hope the fans enjoy it. I hope it's a ride. And I hope it ends and culminates with a very, very emotional and special send-off for John Cena. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. We'll move on to the rest of the results of Raw, but let's do some hellos. Since I've been flapping my gums for probably 30 minutes now about John Cena. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think I got to do a refresh here. We got super chats. We got all that stuff to get into. And then after I read all of your comments on John Cena, we will get into the rest of Monday Night Raw, because there were a couple of other interesting things, including that contract signing with Io, Sky, and Bianca Belair, pretty much going exactly the way we thought it would. We mentioned this outcome on the podcast on Saturday, and that's what happened. But we'll get into that in a second. Let me just do some general shout-outs here. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody because I might not have the full chat in front of me. El Magnifico, good to see you. Ajax Johnson. El Magnifico thinks it was disappointing. I don't. Just for what I said earlier, I didn't need it all in this promo. I would have liked if Cena mentioned The Rock. I would have liked if Cena mentioned going after the 17th title, but I also understand they might be spreading this stuff out, and there might have been a reason why Cena's promo was focused on the fans. Don't forget that. This might be by design. We're going to have lots more Cena between now and WrestleMania, so maybe they want to save the title and The Rock stuff for when The Rock can actually be in the ring with him. So I'm giving it a pass, even though I wish we would have had it. David, Cena's in heel here. We are. I hear you, man. Zane G, what's up, bro? Max Pokebra, Melissa, Tatanani. We've got Ian Dunn, Ryan Adams, Jet the Hawk, Michael Cuomo. We got Linda in here. We've got Mike Rouse, Mohammed. We have Creations, Ceramic Creations. Rodrigo, did I get you? David Brown, K-Dog's Kennel. How you doing, buddy? Happy birthday. K-Dog's Kennel, you old-ass man. Jet the Hawk, good to see you. Anthony Cruz, the Juliet. Who else we got? Same people. T85. Cena is definitely leaving Cody a bloody mess when he destroys him again. A darker Cena, I do expect after today with what Cody said. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Cena wins the title, how he wins the title, and if it's going to be a match kind of like last year, where we're going to have a whole bunch of interference, and if it gets violent with the blood. We will have to see. Okay, El Magnifico. Okay, so no, I see what you're saying here, and I get that. He's saying he doesn't understand why Cody would whoop the Miz, but not Cena. That made no sense. Yes, Cody should be a little bit angrier. I feel like Cody tried to tell us this because when he whipped Cena or whipped the Miz, he said he wanted to talk to Cena. So he didn't even say he wanted to whip Cena's ass, but he also said he is going to listen to what Cena says. And I said the same thing when Cody came out and did his whole entrance and he's smiling and slapping hands. I wanted a little bit more direct, walk straight to the ring, but that might be his demeanor if he wanted Cena's explanation, but he was already in the back listening to the explanation. So Cody came out. I think the way they set this up was done more for the crowd than anything else. And like I said, there's a lot that John Cena needs to explain, and breaking it up and not giving us everything in the first night, I was okay with. But Cody not coming out and wanting to rip Cena's head off, yeah, I get that. But I don't think it made no sense to the point where it ruined it. That's just how Cody chose to handle the first time. This is John Cena he's dealing with. It's not just anybody, so if in a different feud, maybe he'd run in and tear his head off. But this is for the championship. This is for the main event of WrestleMania. The match is already signed. I've said it a million times, anger is for amateurs. And when you can control your emotions, you're always going to be able to have an advantage on others. And Cody showing restraint in that, knowing that, hey, I'm already the champion. Why lose my shit and run out there and try to get revenge when I already have the match booked? My revenge is going to come at WrestleMania because Magnifico, like Cody said, if this is the John Cena I'm getting, I'm going to retire him early. I like people who can be patient with their revenge. I love those Oceans movies, those Oceans 11 and 12 and 13, because they will take months to pay back some motherfucker. And so Magnifico will agree with your point, like what you're saying, but I disagree that Cody should just come out there stark raving mad, because that shows weakness. That shows, your inability to think things through and be calculated, especially when you're already kind of holding all the cards. You're the champ. So coming out like a fucking bat out of hell and attacking John Cena and potentially injuring yourself or hurting yourself or diminishing your opportunity to beat Cena at WrestleMania. I'm sure they're going to get physical and we will have physicality, but honestly, I didn't want it in the first week. So I'm okay with how they did it. I'm okay. I understand your point, but I'm all right with how it was presented tonight, because these are two epic names. And Cody, all he has to do is be patient, and Cody should believe that he's going to get all the payback he wants on Cena when the time comes, because, like I said, the match is signed. Good to see everybody else. Did I miss anybody? No new names that I've seen. Ben, I think I got you. Doug Unfunny, Stone Cold. Good to see you. The new one, and Jay Lambo. Both of y'all are here. Good to see you. Jesus, Wen Casalo is here, or Wen Saslao. What's up, Jesus? Good to see you. Good mic work. Was one of the OG Cena defenders, so his take on this had me clicking ASAP. Well, I've felt for the past, several years now that I have been proven right in those days. I mean, I felt like I was the only adult in that situation, trying to explain to the fans, like, it's really not productive to wish death on somebody because they win a fake fight. It's not really a good way to go through life. And I preached that, and I preached that, and I preached that, and I got nothing but hate for it, but I stood by it, still stand by it. Don't feel any differently at all than I felt back then. I think fans just had difficulty. John Cena said they were selfish. They take, and they give nothing back. They didn't care anything about, they didn't care about the quality of matches he was having. They didn't care about the work he was putting in. They didn't care about how he was carrying himself, the grueling schedule, how he accepted everything probably better than any WWE champion before him had, where the Shawn Michaels and the Stone Cold Steve Austins, they were run down, stressed out, overwhelmed by all of that stuff. Cena took it and ran with it with a smile and got no respect from the audience. And because he won too much, or because now they're old enough to enjoy TV 14 content, but now WWE's PG, so they're butthurt about it and they take it out on Cena, all that stuff. I covered it all, and I picked apart all these little young fucking fans that are so easy to figure out and laid it out for them. And I was proven right every step of the way. Thank you, Jesus, for being here. Appreciate it. We got Brian Nino Montan in the house, and let's read what you said here. This heel turn reminded me of Stone Cold's heel turn at the tail end of the Attitude Era. Such similarities. Even Cena will turn back face at his last match of this year. Yeah, I don't think well, maybe it is. I was about to say, I don't know if the heel turns themselves remind me of each other, but definitely the length of the heel turn, because Austin turned heel at Mania. He was babyface by the time we got to the night after Survivor Series that year. I was at that show, and that was just, 9 months, 8 months, something like that. So Cena is going to probably have about the same level run here, to be honest. Ryan Adams, thank you so much for dropping in another $50. You are running away with the Super Chat Championship this year. I'm going to need your address when we get to December, by the way. Thank you as always, my friend. I feel like one of the moments that fans started liking Cena was that promo with Roman, when Roman blanked on what to say. Yeah, and Cena called him out for it. Plus, he hasn't had a Mania match that felt like a big match since the 31 with Rusev. Yes, Ryan, absolutely. Thank you for the very generous $50 there. That was definitely one of the moments that the fans started lightening up their obsession with Cena because they had now found a new person to obsess over. They found Roman Reigns, just like Cena was the new person to obsess over when Triple H was getting all the heat. And so then that was transferred to Cena. Then Cena transferred it to Roman. And John Cena, oh my God, he ate Roman and shit him out. He made Roman look and feel this goddamn tall. You do not want to go toe-to-toe with John Cena on the mic. It's like getting in an insult battle with Jim Cornette. You don't want to go there. And that was not that surprising to me because I already knew Cena was smooth as silk on the mic. I thought he tore The Rock up way back when in the early days of this commentary channel, of the YouTube channel, when I was talking about the build leading up to WrestleMania 28 between Cena and The Rock. I was saying on multiple weeks that Cena got the better of the promo battle. And of course, nobody wanted to admit that. No, good mic work. You're stupid. I don't know what you're watching. You're just a Cena dick sucker. All that stuff. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle a simple opinion that happened to be true. And what? Are you crazy? That's what hate will do. It'll blind you to everything else. And that still holds true today with people. But I thought Cena was not only holding his own against The Rock in those days, but getting the better of him. And he talked to The Rock too about writing his promo on his hand, remember? And so now he's in there with Roman Reigns. Roman didn't stand a chance. Roman now, would be a little bit better, but man, Roman was so lost during those times. And Cena had already been there, done that, top of the mountain. He sees Roman Reigns as the heir to his throne. And so I think he really pushed him that night. And I think fans started recognizing the value that John Cena brought. Because Roman, I kind of defended Roman too, but I don't think Roman in that promo was anywhere near where Cena ever was. So, that was unsurprising to me that Cena would eat him up like that. But that was definitely one of the nights. And one of the nights that I noticed it too. Help me out. What was the order here? AJ Styles beat John Cena right in their series of matches. Did AJ beat Cena for the title and then Cena beat him back for the title, or was it just Cena beating AJ for the title? All I know is when it got to the time to have the Cena and AJ match for the championship when Cena won, I can't remember if that was at the Rumble or if that was at SummerSlam. And I don't even remember what year. I guess 2017, something like that. And I remember when Cena beat AJ for the title, I noticed, and even before the match, I remember saying, I think the fans are going to be all right with that. In any other universe, 3 or 4 years ago or any other time, John Cena and AJ Styles, fans would be insulted if John Cena won. But now they've gotten to the point where I think they were going to be all right with it. And when John Cena beat AJ and the fans didn't go online and start burning their own houses down out of pure unadulterated rage, I said, maybe we're turning a corner here. So the Roman promo and the AJ match are the two that stick out in my mind from when people started turning the corner on him. Okay, so it was the Rumble. AJ beat Ambrose for the title, that's right, and then Cena beat AJ at the Rumble. And I just remember, I'm sure there was still some fans mad about that. I just remember it not being as bad as I'm used to seeing when it comes to John Cena winning matches, because we all know how fans can handle themselves when that happens. So I just remember saying, it's a nice surprise. Fans aren't cutting their own fucking dicks off. That's good. Glad to see that. Thank you, Ryan Dempsey. Sorry, you are busy at work, but you have time to chime into this chat. That makes you the man. We've got Chris Ludek, my boy. Thank you for the 10. Cena's first heel promo seemed like it lacked something. He should have at least referenced The Rock and had a little more back and forth with Cody. Mania is only 4 weeks, so not much time left. I feel like WWE's strategy with that is just them just taking it slow. I think they purposely did that. I would have liked to have that, yes. But I'm willing to wait to see what the other promos are like. Because if we see some really crazy segments. You got to remember they're overseas right now, so maybe Rock is not available and stuff like that. So if they're saving some good shit for the States and the rest of these appearances and these face-to-faces and these promos are all really good and they all over-deliver, then I don't think we're going to care too much about how tonight was. But we've already been waiting, Chris. That's the problem. We've already been waiting for a few weeks now, a couple of weeks since Elimination Chamber. So if you're going to make us wait that long, you shouldn't take it too slow, You got to give us something. So, I'm still okay with the way that Cena's promo tonight went, but anybody who's saying they wanted to hear about The Rock and about the championship or get more back and forth with Cody, I agree. It would have been nice to have that, but I'm hoping we still get plenty of it. 4 more weeks left to get that done. Yo, A and B combos. Good to see you in here. Hope you guys had a nice, I'm assuming you did a watch along today, right? You're not in California like me, right? Hope you had a good stream today. We could still get swerved with the Cena stuff, but after what we saw today, we think Cena is getting that title at Mania. I feel like he has to. You can't do all this and not belt him. That's what this whole thing is about. You know, I mean, unless the story is for Cena to sell his soul and become a failure and then realize selling your soul is never the answer, is that going to be the redemption arc? Because I thought with Cena calling out the fans first, that's setting up Cena and the fans reconciling at the end of the year. But maybe Cena selling his soul, becoming a bad guy, Cena learns that's not the way to get ahead in life. That's the wrong way to get ahead in life. And then retires without breaking the record, owning up to his own mistake. I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry I let you down. I thought that was the way to go. And now I'm left with nothing. And now I have to retire without accomplishing my goal. And now you guys hate me. And I'm going to be forever sad. So maybe that's it. But it's going to be hard for him not to win the title at Mania. So I hope that they overbook it. I hope we see a lot of stuff. I hope we see run-ins and craziness and all that shit. And he wins, because if he doesn't, then what the hell is John Cena going to do, you know, for the rest of this time? I feel like he's got to beat Cody. And I love the idea of John Cena defending the title against Randy Orton at Backlash, which is in St. Louis, which is where Randy Orton is from, right? We've got... I'm looking for more supers. There's Zane G. What's up, buddy? Thank you for the 5. It's going to be hard for Cena heel turn after 25 years of wishing with kids. Why don't you just do the Thugonomics without the rapping? Yeah, you know, he didn't come out different. You know, I kind of thought like, okay, maybe if he doesn't do a suit, maybe he comes out more Thugonomics, but that shit's over too. So if he came out as Thugonomics, he's probably going to get cheered. So yeah, people have got opinions. You know, some people feel like he should have done more, look different or whatever. I get that. I get that totally. But I feel like the John Cena heel turn is working because we've seen him. We've seen what he's like as a heel. He's great. He delivered his lines perfectly. And I think John Cena will succeed at getting the fans to boo him. I think he will. And if it becomes hard, then he can just beat up R-Truth or beat up, who else? I kind of wanted him to have like a squash match against Austin Theory. I think that would be fun. But Theory's got to be a face first before that happens. Brian Adams has got 10 more. Next week in Glasgow, Scotland, they have another Cody Cena segment with Punk possibly being there. Would be interesting. But also last time Punk was in Glasgow, he screwed Drew. So that should be fun. Yes. Next week in Glasgow, Cody and Cena again. Punk will be in the house. So we'll see if he'll be busy with Rollins or if he'll be sticking his nose into the Cody Cena stuff. And we'll be talking about Rollins in a second because he was also on the show tonight. Colin Wright, have Orton punt Cena into retirement. Holy shit. Thank you for the $2. And then you got 5 more for us. Vince was at tonight's Knicks Heat game. Will get no love for wearing green even on St. Patrick's Day. Fuck Vince McMahon. So where he's at the Garden tonight watching the Knicks. Good. I hope he slips on a spilled soda and falls down the stairs. WWE fan, appreciate the 5. Unsure if I like the reason of Cena heel turn as of yet. It does all make sense and was delivered well. I can see this growing on me. Yeah, it's already grown on me. I do feel like it would have hit much, much harder, 11 years ago in 2012, 2013, 2014. If Cena would have turned heel then, I think a lot of this anger towards the fans would really deepen the emotion, but you can't go backwards in time. So it's still working. Oh yeah, that's right. I met you in LA. So of course you're in LA. I'm down here in the whale's vagina. So you were live at 12. I can't do it. Just too early for me. But I had a doctor's appointment anyway. So I couldn't have gone live if I wanted to. But it was an interesting time to watch Raw, that's for sure. Ryan Adams, thank you for 10 more. Cena has only wrestled on 3 Manias since WrestleMania 31, unless you count 36 as a match. Well, yeah, I kind of do. 33 was a mixed tag with Nikki, and 34 was Taker, and 39 was Theory. But yeah, you got to count 33. It was a match. It was just weird. Or 36, excuse me. Just like the Boneyard match was weird. WWE fan, thanks for 2. What's best for business is putting Cody over. I mean, in a lot of situations right now, of course, Cody's the champion, but I feel like the angle is too big for Cena to fall short. But there will be a predictions video, so stay tuned. All right, I think that at least covers the supers that have come in since I spent the first half an hour here just talking about John Cena. There was more of Monday Night Raw. There was actually a show on top of the Cena promo. Now that we've been going about an hour just talking about that, we had Ludwig Kaiser versus Penta in a no-holds-barred match. Apparently, Ludwig has been working babyface on the international tour here, but he was back a heel tonight, working against Penta. Really fun match. Got a DVD on Penta, to Penta on the announce table that looked really sick. In the ring, the match finished up with a destroyer and a Penta driver, both on top of the chair to get the win for Penta. Penta is then interviewed in the aisleway by the stupendously adorable Kathy Kelly. And he says that he wants the Intercontinental title. And he says the same sentence that Tessa Blanchard said, and something to madre, whatever that was. He said the same thing. And then, which I think to madre kind of just means fuck you. It's like slang. I know it means your mother, but I think it means fuck you, I think. But he said that, and then he says he's going after the Intercontinental Championship. So, okay. Feels like they are moving in the direction of Breakker having a multi-man title defense, or are they? Because then we go backstage to Judgment Day. And earlier on, by the way, when Dakota, Kai, and Io Sky were coming to the ring because Dakota had a match against Ivy Nile, you saw Karrion Kross talking to Dominic in the background. So then you're backstage with Judgment Day. Dominic proposes to Balor that the Judgment Day adds Penta to the group. So he kind of nominates Penta to join Judgment Day. But then Carlito was like, don't you even watch the show? Penta just had an interview where he said he wanted to go after the title. And then Dom was like, Balor gets pissed. He's like, why would you bring him in here when he is trying to come after my Intercontinental Championship? And then he storms off. And Dom's like, I didn't even know Penta was going for the title. That's because you were talking to Karrion Kross. So maybe, I think Karrion Kross at this point would be a better addition to the Judgment Day than Aleister Black. Aleister Black, I think, should just come back in as a singles. We didn't see, unless I was out of the room, because I did leave a couple times during the commercials and shit. Did we see any of those vignettes tonight? Those teasers like we saw on SmackDown? Did we see the Rey Fenix silhouette, and did we see the number 4 or another number with smoke? I didn't happen to see any. So if Aleister Black comes back, I always felt that he would be a weird addition or a weird leader to the Judgment Day because of the comedic element that Judgment Day currently has. Not only with Carlito, but with Dominic. Dominic and Liv, I'm not sure if their personalities match with a Malachi Black. So I feel like if Aleister, if Black was going to take over the Judgment Day or something, I almost feel like the entire group would need to be overhauled. And he'd basically just need to reform the House of Black under the Judgment Day name in WWE. But when you start adding goofy-ass Carlito and Dominic's antics, I don't know if that's a really good fit for Aleister. So I feel like if Aleister Black's coming back, he just comes back. And Judgment Day either disbands altogether or they bring in perhaps a Karrion Kross. But either way, they're not the same since losing the Terror Twins. Up next was Ivy Nile versus Dakota Kai. This time, Dakota gets the win. Earlier on in the match, Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee ran in to run off the Creeds. They would be battling later on in the night. And then Dakota hit Ivy Nile with a very shitty-looking GTK and got the win. So that looked like shit. But Dakota, who I love, got the win. She is the best. And up next was the big Io Sky and Bianca Belair contract signing for their women's championship match at WrestleMania. We had sniffed this out over the weekend. A lot of people had. I saw a lot of people mentioning the Shawn Michaels thing where you grab the contract and sign it, because one thing that feels obvious is that Rhea Ripley is going to be a part of this match. They're not going to leave Rhea Ripley off of WrestleMania. That's not going to happen. They're trying to do something different here. Instead of having her just be champion and defending against somebody, they had her drop the title in a surprise move just a couple of weeks before WrestleMania, and now Io is going to have to face Bianca. But I think we all knew deep down somehow, some way, Rhea Ripley was going to find her way into this match. So the two women make their entrances, and Bianca Belair was booed pretty heavily. Now, I, for one, am also tired of Bianca Belair as a babyface, but not to the point where I'm booing her. I like Bianca Belair. I think I'm kind of all the way in love with Bianca Belair. Montez Ford is a very, very lucky man. God, when she has her hair down and it's like kind of highlighted in brown, oh my God, she is gorgeous. So I got no problem with Bianca, but the fans were booing her for some reason. Maybe it wasn't more of booing Bianca. It was just more showing support for Io Sky. I don't know. I don't know what that was about at all. But Bianca got booed pretty heavily, and both ladies signed the contract, but not before. I'm going to give Io Sky a pass because of the language barrier, but I really hate the trope of all wrestlers, men and women, they both do it. When you do the whole hold the belt up and say, my name is so-and-so, and I am the so-and-so WWE World Champion or whatever. You know that? I hate that. After every win, I am Triple H, and I am still your world wrestler. Stop that. They all do it. It's so fucking annoying. And Io Sky basically said, I am no women's world champion, but bless her heart, she's trying her best to speak English in these interviews and stuff. So I got no issue with Io doing that, but everybody else needs to stop doing that. It's so overdone. I am there, and I am still your blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we know. We can see you. We saw your name in the lower thirds when you came out to the ring. We know your name. We see the belt in your hand. We know you're champion. It's just stupid. So anyway, a little rant there. So Io says that she's the champion. She signs the contract. Bianca Belair signs the contract. And then Rhea Ripley comes out. So Ripley gets in there. Bianca wants to know what Ripley is doing there. And Ripley's like, well, I wanted to know what you were doing out there in my match. So they push poor Io Sky down again. And then Ripley ends up headbutting Bianca Belair, putting her on the table that they were using for the contract signing. And then she picks up Io Sky and power bombs her onto Belair through the table. Ripley then picks up the contract that already has the two signatures on it and signs her name just on the bottom. Now her name is on the contract. I don't remember if that's the exact same way it went at WrestleMania 20. Is that how Shawn got in? Because I can see like signing the name in somebody's place, but not just adding your name. You know, I don't think that's how contracts work. You know, if one of you guys are at the car dealership buying a car, and right when you're signing your name, after you're done, I grab the paper and sign my name on it too, you know, and then just go grab the keys and drive away. I don't know if that works or if that's legal. But her just adding her name to it, I'm like, oh, is this as easy as it's going to be for her just to have to do that? And then backstage, the brawl continues because Rhea is backstage. She's got the contract. Adam Pearce wants the contract. She's like, no, my name is on it. You got to add me to the match. And he's refusing. So she wants in. He's refusing to add her to the match. No, I'm not doing it. Then Bianca and Io show up. They all start brawling again. So what I guess is going to happen here is that Io and Bianca are going to be so mad at Ripley that they're going to let her into the match. No, let her in here so we can beat her. And some people are pointing out that this isn't very babyface-like by Rhea Ripley. It's not. She seems to be butthurt. I feel like this would make more sense if she would have been kind of screwed over a little bit more. All that happened was Bianca shoved her, right? She shoved Bianca. Bianca shoved her back. But Ripley was the one that started the whole thing. It would be one thing if Bianca interfered and that costed Ripley the match. Then Ripley would have more of a leg to stand on here. And I'd be more open to her being added to the match. But this doesn't feel like it's a very babyface thing to do, and it might lead to Rhea Ripley turning heel. I don't know. But what I think is going to wind up happening, if Ripley continues to be this obnoxious and she starts wreaking this much havoc to get herself added to the match, then I think she eats the pin at WrestleMania. And Bianca might win the title, and then you got a Bianca and Ripley program, I guess, or something after that. But I feel like Ripley should lose at this point at WrestleMania. I don't know who it was in the chat, seemed to have a hard time with Ripley being involved in this. Like, they just want to find her. They just want to put her on WrestleMania. Are people actually trying to insinuate that Rhea Ripley shouldn't be on WrestleMania? I don't know where you get your weed, but it's bad. It's bad. Don't smoke that anymore, because that's the silly thing to say. What the fuck? Of course she's going to be on this show. If anything, this should be better. This should be better than her just remaining champion. And I kind of wanted the Bianca Belair one-on-one match with Ripley, but this is kind of better than Ripley just being champion and just going in to defend. They threw a swerve at us. They took the title off of her. You don't see that very often. On Raw, pretty much after your Mania match is already set. So they did that as a way to spice up that one-on-one match, make it a triple threat for whatever reason they have storyline-wise to do this, and maybe to give Io Sky an opportunity now, because this created a WrestleMania match for Io Sky. So it shouldn't matter if it's a triple threat or not. I feel like where we sit right now, it's March 17th, full month away from WrestleMania, but where we sit, I would like to see Io just retain over both of them. Retain, let Ripley and Bianca, their issue, really kind of hurt them in the match, and Io Sky takes advantage of that. You know, of Rhea and Bianca kind of being obsessed with beating the other, and then she capitalizes and wins and retains the title. That's what I would do at this point. But if they did that, I feel like I would have just had Io win the title at WrestleMania. But maybe they want this to be a triple threat because they want all three of these women to be in this match, because if they weren't, one of them would be regulated to something else not very good. And a lot of fans have really been wanting Io Sky to have another crack at the championship. So this whole situation, in my mind, I'm looking at it as a positive. I'm like, okay, instead of getting Rhea and Bianca, you're going to chuck Io Sky into this mix. And I think in the ring, that could make the match really fun. We've seen Rhea and Bianca a million times, and they didn't do enough in this past year to really build them, you know, kind of in a silent collision course to where you're like, oh, that's going to be a dream match when this version of Bianca and this version of Ripley collide. They kind of threw that match together here at the beginning of the year where I felt it wasn't teased enough, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be excited for it as much as I should be. Now you've got Sky going in there as this little wild card who's going to make the match very fun. Plus, she's the champ. It was probably the only way to get her in, because if you wanted to make this match a triple threat, how would Sky get in if she didn't win the title? Like, if Bianca won the Rumble and it's Rhea and Bianca, how would Io Sky make a stink and get herself in, unless she got screwed and Pierce added her or something. This was the way this is the road they chose to take. It's working fine for me. And I think the match, when it finally comes together, will be pretty good. And like I said, I think what they're going to do here is Bianca and Io both are probably just going to tell Pierce, no, we're pissed at her. We want to kick her ass or whatever. And Pierce will say, okay. Or he'll have a stipulation. All right, if Rhea does this, I'll let her in the match, or something like that. Or maybe it's a situation where maybe this could be fun. I would like to see something like this, like on the Go Home Raw, or just a Raw leading up to it. Ripley and Bianca main event. If Ripley wins, she's added to the match. That's probably what they're going to do. I think the contract thing isn't going to be ironclad, and I think Io and Bianca just rolling over and letting her in, storyline would, make sense, but it might be just a little bit lazy and a little bit like, unremarkable, where if you booked a big Raw main event, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, if Ripley wins, she gets added to the match. Now you got Io Sky on commentary for that. And then Ripley wins, maybe with something similar happening to Bianca that happened to Ripley. Maybe there's just a small little distraction on the outside for Bianca with Io Sky. Maybe a shove, or maybe Io shoves her. Maybe it's the same situation that happened with Bianca and Ripley. This time it happens with Io and Bianca. Bianca gets in the ring, gets caught, gets beat by the Riptide. Ripley's now in the match. Bianca kind of blames Io. And now it's an official triple threat. And then you have Io Sky beat them both and still retain. So that's what I would do. I would have the match between Bianca and Ripley with the stipulation that if Rhea wins, she's added to the match, and you have Bianca fall victim to the same thing Ripley fell victim to when she lost the title to Io Sky. That's the way I do it. After that, we had a squash. Jey Uso taking on Austin Theory, beats him in 30 seconds with basically a high cross body off the ropes, just off the mat. High cross body at high speed. It was kind of a half high cross body, half spear. I don't know what it was. And pinned Theory to win the match. After the match, Gunther comes out. Jey Uso throws him over the top rope. He's got the championship belt, and then a bunch of other people are out there, and Jey goes for the big top rope dive, and he fails it miserably. This was top dollar shit here. Holy crap. So, I mean, imagine if Jey Uso was Will Ospreay in the ring. Imagine if Jey Uso had Will Ospreay's skill set along with that entrance and how over he is. And we've been carefully critical of Jey Uso because the last thing I want to do is sound like every other dipshit fucking fan out there that's so asshole-ish when it comes to him. But it's really hard to ignore that he's not very dazzling in the ring. And the moment of him winning the championship is and would be very great if that's what they plan on doing. I'm really hoping that Jey and Gunther can surprise us, and all of these matches, all of these opinions can be erased in one fucking match if Jey can just bring it. If him and Gunther just tear the damn house down for some reason, and we get this as awesome chance, and we could just get something in that match that is really good, really memorable, then I'm fine with Jey Uso winning the title. As long as the fans are engaged, they're into it, they're enjoying the match, fans at home are enjoying the match, Jey gets the moment, then fine. But if he's going in there and he has a match like what we've been seeing lately out of his slow motion spears, man, I don't know. I just have Gunther retain at that point. And I mean, how is this match going to main event night 2? I think Rhea and Bianca and Io should main event. I'm sorry, night 1. I think Rhea and Io and Bianca should main event night 1. I'd rather see that, I think, at this point from where we sit, than Jey Uso and Gunther. So Jey Uso's got a huge audience base. You know, the kids out there that really, really like Jey, I kind of want him to win for them. Plus, I want the visual of the entire Allegiant Stadium doing the thing while he's celebrating. But sometimes creating those visuals, creating those moments, you know, isn't worth the expense of beating Gunther and putting the belt on Jey, who will probably just hold it until SummerSlam, but still. And I can understand wanting to put the belt on Jey too, wanting to make him a world champion. I can get that if you're Triple H. He was main event Jey Uso. I thought he was doing great in those early days of the Bloodline. He was one of my favorite in-ring guys. I was one of the people saying, hey, they should put singles gold on him. But that was 5 years ago. Jey feels like he's a different worker physically than he was. And it's just really hard to get really emotionally invested in his matches right now. So that's about the kindest I can put it, because I really do like Jey Uso. And there's this debate online about, character and being over versus ring work. I would never get in the middle of that. It's just too stupid because nobody is ever speaking in good faith. It's always rooted in pre-existing tribalism or thoughts or anything like that. So you can't take any fan seriously or believe anything they say. So I don't want to get involved in that debate. But I feel like Jey needs to be better in the ring. And don't do top rope dives. After that, we got the Creed brothers versus Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. LWO got the win there after the match. That goofy American luchador, Senor America, hit the ring and attacked Rey and Dragon Lee. Of course, we know this is Chad Gable, and they're still trying to pretend that it's not. And then we got a Seth Rollins promo, which I was looking forward to until he spoke, didn't say shit. All he said was he will confront CM Punk and Roman Reigns on SmackDown this Friday in Italy. In Bologna, Italy is where they're going to be. Down there in Bologna, Italy, or Bologna, Italy is where they're going to be. So he'll confront Punk and Roman on SmackDown, and that's all he came out there to say. But the fans had a good time singing his song. And in the main event, it was Braun Breaker, God, that name, defending his Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor. They've been playing up a lot between Balor and Dom lately, so you had a feeling Dom might get involved here. I thought Balor was going to win the title since it was an international show, and, that might, it felt a little similar to the Io Sky situation, but I thought they might do it if Balor got a surprise title win right before Mania. But Dominic showed up. He accidentally knocked Balor off the ropes, crotching himself when Dominic jumped up to distract the referee or something. Then Breaker runs up with the Breaker Steiner from the top rope and then hits him with the spear for the win to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Judgment Day then swarms and attacks Breaker, and Penta comes out to make the save and has a little stare down with Breaker at the end of the show. So we might now just be getting a Braun Breaker versus Penta one-on-one match now that Balor has lost. I don't know why you would add Balor back to this now. And then maybe throw Sheamus in there, and then you got a four-way. I think maybe Braun Breaker and Penta one-on-one might be the way to go. And if Penta wins, maybe Rey Fenix comes out and celebrates with him at WrestleMania. You never know. I guess now at this point, what I might do is start where I think what they are doing is maybe building to a Dominic and Finn Balor match, maybe to determine the new leader of the Judgment Day or something, and that's where Karrion Kross gets involved, because Dominic was talking to Kross in the background tonight on Raw. And then when he showed up, and because of that conversation with Kross, he didn't hear Penta say he wanted to go after the Intercontinental title. And then he went and proposed Penta joining the group. So Dom and Balor have got issues. Maybe that's a WrestleMania match. One-on-one, Balor and Dom, with some sort of future of the Judgment Day on the line. I feel like that's what you got to do. And maybe that's where Kross shows up and reveals that he's the new leader. Kross shows up, helps Dominic win, and we've got like a new look Judgment Day with Kross involved. I don't know. Some people don't like Kross. I never really did. He's starting to grow on me. Last several months, he's been the most entertaining he's ever been to me. So I'm willing to see where they can go with him, because I feel like he's never really shown what he can really do, and we might actually be getting that chance to see that now. So maybe he'll be a part of that. I feel like that's likely. And I guess, JD McDonough will probably still be around in that group. Maybe it's JD and Dom and Kross, and maybe they boot out Balor, and maybe they boot out Carlito, and then maybe add one more person. I don't know. We will see. But that was pretty much your Raw tonight. What did you think of the show, by the way? I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the crowd, even if the show wasn't very good, the crowd was going to make it entertaining, and I'm really glad that they enjoyed themselves. I enjoyed the Cena stuff. Would have liked to get a little more out of him, but I'm not too concerned because there's a lot of TV left. And I think as long as we get those explanations in future promos and segments, they don't want to blow their load, essentially, all in one night. So we'll get more of a back and forth. We'll get Cena talking about The Rock. We'll get Cena in the ring with The Rock. We'll get Cena talking about the titles. We'll get a physical altercation at some point. We'll probably get a contract signing. So all of that is coming. But those who pointed out, WrestleMania is only 4 weeks away, so it's not like we got all the time in the world to get this done. So hopefully we will get more next time. Before I get out of here, let's just see if there's any more questions or super chats to answer. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, giving this video a like, I would appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Stone Cold, 10X, thank you for the $5. I love the promo, full of raw emotion, one of Cena's best. It was a great promo. I knew it would be. Never doubted him. Cena's got this. Cena can handle this stage. There ain't no stage that intimidates John Cena. So it's nice to have that comfort knowing that the person in charge of playing this character is one of the best they got. Juliet, thank you for the reminder. I almost forgot to mention that. They did set up some sort of tag match, I guess, next week in Scotland. And many fans are saying that Joe Hendry will be teaming up with Jey Uso. I kind of left the room a couple times during that whole brawl. I did see the terrible dive, but I didn't see much else. So I guess Jay might be taking on, Gunther and Kaiser or some shit? What's going on there? Next week, and Joe Hendry being his partner. Or maybe it's New Day or something like that. I forgot. DJG. Well, unfortunately, we are going to talk about WrestleMania 36 for 3 minutes in a couple of weeks over there on the YouTube Shorts, as I am doing a quick recap of every single WrestleMania currently underway. Dropped WrestleMania 8 this morning. Ryan, 5 more from you. My idea was Io suggest Rhea be in the match as repayment for Rhea giving Io the title shot for costing Io her chamber qualifier. Right. That would also make sense. But that's not very dramatic, So I feel like if it's a Raw show, why not book a match out of this, You can have a great Raw main event with Ripley being added to the match on the line. Might be a little bit more exciting than that. But my other scenario too was pretty similar to yours, where the women would just let her in. But if Io was like, hey, you gave me a favor, I'll give you a favor, that works. And storyline wise, that makes sense, but not very dramatic for WrestleMania time. That's why doing it in match form will at least give us that. Yeah, Bronson Reed still on the shelf. That sucks, man. I wish he could be here for WrestleMania. Had an ankle injury, I think, at Survivor Series, right? So that put him out of Mania, and that really bummed me out for him because he was on the road to doing something fun at WrestleMania for sure. Yeah, theories fall from grace. That's why I think the beginning of his new rise needs to be turning face and then getting killed by John Cena, giving Cena his win back, and then kind of starting over and starting to get the fans behind him and stuff. Maybe he's got a chance. Making sure I didn't miss any of these earlier. All right, I think that is going to do it for me. In addition to the shorts that you'll be seeing all week, you might not see me now until Saturday on the podcast because I have dental surgery tomorrow. So I'll be unable to probably speak well, like for a podcast, for like a day or two. And then it's going to be Thursday, and I don't know what's going on. So if something crazy happens, I'll be up here. We'll talk about it. Otherwise, we will have a lot to say on Saturday as we will be reviewing SmackDown. That's going to have a lot of fun stuff on there. So I appreciate you guys. Oh, Magnifico, doctor appointment went well. They took my blood. All good. I just hated that I had to go through it right when the ending of Raw was happening. But I do it every Monday, so I'm starting to get used to it. And it's all well. I appreciate the well wishes and the concern. Thanks again, guys, so much for being here this evening, and enjoy the rest of your night. Shit, normally Raw is ongoing, or normally would be right in the middle of Monday Night Raw right now, but instead we're just wrapping up our review. It's kind of nice. I don't know what to do with the rest of my night. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Thanks again, and I'll be catching you later on in the week for the podcast. Peace.